This week marks the 11th anniversary of my mom's passing. She passed on November 7th, which was her birthday and also my late Uncle Larry's birthday. And this year, I have a doctor's appointment for my back up in Tulsa on the 6th. And when I was telling my bestie about this, who lives up there, she offered just to let me stay through the weekend. She called it a distraction. And I think of it more as kindness, as showing up for someone when you know they need you, even if they don't know it at the time. And a way to be companion through memory, because grief travels too. And when we pack for a caregiving journey, we pack more than supplies. We carry stories, rituals, and the weight of what's been lost. Welcome to Sacred Caregiving. My name is Barbara, and this month we focus on the practical and spiritual sides of traveling with a loved one with medical needs. So, like I said, this weekend I'm going to Tulsa for a long weekend. And as I started thinking about what I had to pack, I had to think about what my own medical needs are. So I started going down the list. I have to pack enough medication for the long weekend, plus an extra day or two just in case. Not that I expect anything to happen, but better to be safe. I have to think about packing my blood sugar meter so that I can monitor my blood sugar because I'm diabetic. And because I'm diabetic and because I'm also getting issues with my balance because of my back, I have to take care of my feet. So I have to think about taking flip-flops so for just like around the house, because I can't do like closed-toed slippers. For some reason I can't handle them anymore. And I also have to take both sets of my diabetic shoes so that I can trade off one day to another so that I can change the pressure points on my feet. Because that's also something that I have to think about with my diabetes and with, like I said, my balance issues. And I also have flat feet, which I have had for years. And as a result, I now have plantar fasciitis. So I got a lot of things going on with my feet that I have to stop and think about. On top of thinking about taking my medications and taking my glucometer and taking all of the things that I need to deal with my own medical issues. And it kind of reminds me of when my mom and I would take trips. For example, in 2013, we came here to Oklahoma for my cousin Titus's wedding. And in retrospect, I realized that my mom knew that this was probably going to be her last trip. And she wanted to make the most of it. So the weekend before my cousin's wedding happened to be when the CMA festival, the Country Music Association Festival, was going on in Nashville. So we decided to swing by Nashville and go to the CMA Fest. And We decided for that trip to rent her a mobility scooter and bring it with us because when we were doing our research for the CMA festival, we realized that everything was spread out across downtown Nashville. And she was like, I'm going to be exhausted if I go on just my wheeled walker. So we took her mobility scooter and we took a cane for those times that she couldn't really be on her mobility scooter. So we decided to, at that point, to rent an SUV. Because unlike now with mobility scooters where they have the ones that can just like fold down and fit neatly into the trunk, back in 2013, you had to pretty much dismantle the whole thing before you could actually fit it into a vehicle. And we had to get a big enough vehicle that had room for the two of us and her mobility scooter and then all of our luggage. And when I say all, we didn't exactly travel light. We each had a rolling suitcase that, for our checked luggage. Then we each had a carry-on luggage, so that's 4 pieces of luggage right there. Plus our rolling medical bag, which had our CPAP machines and all of our medications. And so now we're up to 5 bags. And then we had her mobility scooter. So that was 6 things. So when you are taking a road trip with someone that you are giving care for, if you're going on a long road trip, think about what their mobility needs are. If they're on a scooter or a walker or a wheelchair, can the vehicle fit all of that? Plus whatever luggage you're taking. Plus you. Is there enough trunk space to put all of that stuff? Think about the seat height and the ease of entry. Like SUVs worked well for us. And they also worked well for my aunt when she was taking grandma across the country last October. And just a side note, if you're renting a vehicle, ask the rental company ahead of time about roadside assistance and accessibility features. So I talked a little bit about what Mom and I took. And that was a little bit different because we were going from airplane to car to hotel, then around town in the car, and then back to the airline, back to another rental car, etc. My aunt, when she took my grandma from Oklahoma to California on a 10-day trip last October, she went in her SUV, in my aunt's SUV. And she took bath wipes, which are kind of like, like the little hand wipes, except bigger. She took plenty of the disposables, took a few snacks that grandma liked. They figured out after a while that when they were on the road that grandma really liked to stop at the Dairy Queen and get ice cream, and that really helped to settle her down. So when you notice something like that, make a note of it so that, you know, if there's some place that the person is like hyper focused on, you know, look for that. She took 3 changes of clothing and she stayed in hotels where she had the ability to do laundry. She found a collapsible shower chair to take with her and took grandma's favorite blanket with them and took grandma's walker with her seat and several packets of her incontinent pads, like her adult diapers. And then she also took several pairs of sleepwear, keeping in mind that, you know, usually we change grandma's sleepwear every day because of her incontinence. So when you're packing for someone, it's not just about logistics. It's about comfort and dignity and emotional ease. This week, I'll be traveling again with grief tucked quietly beside me and sometimes in the forefront. My mom's birthday, her passing, and the rituals I carry. And I'll be staying with someone who knows me well enough to say, come rest or let me distract you. That's caregiving too. That's sanctuary. So if you're planning a trip with someone who needs care, remember, you're not just packing gear. You're packing grace. You're not just renting a car. You're making space for memory. And if someone offers you a safe place to land and a soft place to land, say yes. Because that's caregiving too. Because if you don't take time to care for yourself, you can't care for others. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a caregiver. This truly is sacred